Alright, so yesterday we last left off here. We purchased some office supplies. Okay, so we bought paper, pens, ink, and labels. Okay, we already recorded that we used a business credit card to make this purchase. So this is where we are next. We're going to be purchasing from Wholesale Food Store. Okay, let's see. What did we buy from Wholesale Food Store?
Non-dairy creamer.
We bought non-dairy creamer and what else?
Oh, sugar.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Today's the 15th. So let's see. Do we have a sugar account?
Yes, we do. It's 11,770.
Okay, and the creamer is 11,775. So perfect. We have sugar. And we have creamer. Okay. How did we pay for the sugar and creamer?
On the Visa.
With our Visa. Good. Okay. How much did it cost me to buy the sugar?
21.60.
Yes, right. We bought 60 pounds of sugar, which cost me 36 cents a pound, gave me a total of $21.60. Okay. What about the creamer? We bought 3 cases of a 12-pack non-dairy creamer for $16.33, giving us a grand total of
48.99.
so I charged only $70.59. Okay. Why? What happened to the tax here?
We didn't get charged any
We didn't get charged any. Why?
because it's a business purchasing.
Yes, but what else? What is sugar and what is creamer?
I don't know. I don't.
What do we consider those as?
Cream and sugar. I don't know.
Well, when you go to the grocery store and you buy sugar, why are you tax exempt?
I don't know. I don't know that one.
It's because it's food.
You don't get taxed on food?
No, you don't. That's one of the exceptions. Yep. You don't get tax on food. Only things that you use in the house. So appliances or, for example, kitchenware, right? Or basically products you use. For food and perishable goods, so groceries, if you go pick a bag of apples, all of those are tax exempt. Okay, so that means these belong to the food group, so you don't get charged tax at all. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you know. Okay, so there you go. So we don't have to pay tax because it's part of the food group tax that you guys get tax exempt no matter if you're a business or just a regular consumer. You don't have to pay taxes on food. So in this case, right, we are done with this transaction. So what are the details that I need to put in here?
Purchased sugar and non-dairy creamer
Where?
from wholesale food store.
Proof of the transaction is the sales receipt number.
5534.875.
Okay. And I think that should be it. Right, you can put the details of how many pounds you buy in the ledger. Okay. So now that we finished our journal, we can now go to our ledger. Okay, because we just bought some sugar and some creamer, and we need to update our accounts. So when we look at sugar and creamer, we call those business supplies, right? Those are things that we need to have to prep for the coffee that we serve in store. So here you go, sugar. £60. Was it 36 cents? What page are we on in the journal?
6 or 5?
No, we're on 5.
Okay.
How much do we need to put a debit for? How much sugar did we buy?
I was muted the whole time I was talking.
Okay, no worries.
The total, I think it was like 80 something, right?
Okay, so we're not looking at the total. We're looking at just purchasing just the sugar. So what does your journal say? If you bought 60 pounds at 36 cents each, gave you a total of $21.60. Good. So that's what you're gonna start out with in your sugar. Right, your creamer.
48.99.
3 cases, 12 pack at, that's $16.33 each. $48.99.
Yes.
And last but not least, we have to update our credit card because we spent more money on our credit card. What did we buy?
Sugar and candy.
For a total of
70.59.
so what's my grand total I have so far on my credit card?
$5.49.
Good. Okay. So that's the ledger. Now where did we go? We went to wholesale foods. Now, just in case for any reason we need to return any sugar or any creamer, right? As you can't do it as long as it's not opened. Then let's see. We would need to record it. Here we are, wholesale foods. You purchased 60 pounds sugar at 36 cents each. And you use your Visa credit card to pay it. So what would be considered my invoice number? What was your sales receipt number? Proof of transaction? 55.
34.
Post reference. What journal are we on? Page 5. Terms, we paid in store, so no terms. Invoice amount. And of course, we made a payment. Therefore, I don't owe anything to wholesale foods because I paid at the store, okay, with my Visa credit card, which acts as if you're making a payment, but really you're owing more money to a credit card company. But it acts as if you paid right then and there. Okay? So for any reason that you have to return your sugar or your coffee creamer, you have this proof of a receipt. Okay? So it is now, they're still on the 15th. We end up receiving a bill from Silver State Electrical.
So you would go to the general journal and you would be payment. You would need a check number.
Are we going to pay this now?
Oh no, we're gonna pay it on the 19th.
Okay, we're going to pay on the 19th. Good. So, what does that tell me if I'm going to make a payment on the 19th?
Accounts payable.
Excellent. Now, why did I hire Silver State Electrical?
Why?
Yeah, why?
For the electrical wiring outlets
For what?
to get electricity.
Okay, for
For the cafe.
okay, for what particular machine needs this electrical wiring?
The coffee machine.
The coffee grinder, right? So, in this kind of scenario, right? This is going to be part of the coffee grinder, right? Where is my coffee grinder right now?
And miscellaneous.
In miscellaneous suspense. So in this case, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it into miscellaneous suspense and put it as part of the cost of the coffee grinder. I think that's what.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was saying, oh, because it's part of it too.
Yes. Because we hired Silver State Electrical to do two things: reinforce the foundation so it doesn't fall off the table or whatever it is, so it's in the ground. And then we needed an electrical wiring because we already have two coffee brewers, a refrigerator. We have so many things that are being plugged in right now. So we need an extra outlet to maybe put it right next to the coffee grinder, because what if the coffee grinder and the coffee brewers, if they're all on the same outlet, what's going to happen? You have a possibility of a surge. So we created a separate wiring for the coffee grinder. So now we're going to attach it as part of the coffee grinder, okay, as part of the cost, okay? Because that's what it takes to get the coffee grinder ready for service. So in this case, there you go, miscellaneous suspense. What account number is miscellaneous suspense?
1999.
For how much?
1,070.
Okay. So we have all the information we need in regards to this transaction. Okay. Okay. Who did we receive a bill from?
I will be remodeling.
Look at the top again.
Silver State Electrical.
Oh yeah, you're right. I put LV remodeling. It's supposed to be Silver State Electrical. Good. Okay. What invoice number is this?
3351.
Okay. And how many days do you have to pay for it?
4.
Good. There you go. I have my journal. Now I need to plug it into my ledger accounts. So this is where I'm going to be adding to my miscellaneous suspense. Okay, so right now my coffee grinder is at $3,088.07. So let's see what happens when I add this in here. Right? I got some electrical wiring for grinder. Okay. Still on page 5 for a total of $1,070, right? So then what's my new grand total for my coffee grinder?
$4,158.07.
Good. Right? And then now we need to put this as an accounts payable because now we owe more money. Right? We owe more money to invoice number 3351. Still on page 5. And we're increasing our liabilities, right? So it's credited for 1070. So what's my new grand total in my accounts payable account?
$18,288.70.
Okay, let me recalculate that again. So 17,281.74 plus 1070.
$18,351.
18,351. Good. So there you go. We posted to the journal, the ledger. Now I owe Silver State some money. So I need to update my subsidiary ledger to reflect that I owe some money to Silver State Electrical. So here they are. Notes. Electrical wiring for grinder, 3351. Post reference, page 5. Terms. Was I given terms?
Net 4.
Yes, net 4. So, what is my due date since they didn't give me a discount? What did it say on my...
The 19th.
It's due on the 19th, good. For a grand total of 1070. Okay. Now it says transfer coffee grinder out from miscellaneous suspense. So now that it's ready for service, we can take it out from our miscellaneous suspense account. So how would I do that? How would I transfer from one account to another?
And would it be miscellaneous? And then is there like a grinder attachment?
Let's take a look. Do we have a grinder account?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Now, are we going to be increasing our coffee grinders or are we going to be increasing our miscellaneous suspense? coffee grinder, so that's going to go first. Okay. My coffee grinder is 15,020. Okay. And since I'm decreasing my miscellaneous expense, I'm going to credit my miscellaneous suspense account. Okay. Now let's actually take a second real quick to see how much my miscellaneous suspense account is. So let's see. Right now, my miscellaneous suspense account, this is my whole entire coffee grinder. So that means this is the amount that I'm going to be taking out from my miscellaneous suspense and putting it into my coffee grinder. So I need to do how much?
4,150.
Okay. Now let's take a look at what we have on file on record here. I have, let's see, I have the coffee grinder right now. It says right here up in the notes, coffee grinder was $1,353.07. We split the tax of $350, so that was $175. Okay. And then we had the reinforcement foundation for the coffee grinder for the $1,560, and then we had the electrical wiring for $1,070. Okay. So then now let's go ahead and carry all that information into our coffee grinder account. There you go, coffee grinder. What was it, 1358? 1353.07. Okay, so price. Which was, oh wait, no, that's including tax. Shipping. Foundation cost $1,560 plus electrical, which cost $1,070. Okay. Post reference, we're still on page 5, and we are going to debit our account for $4,158.07. Okay.
Okay. So then after that, how do we delete it from miscellaneous?
We would have to, so I just plugged everything into the journal as I was or in the ledger as I was journalizing. So in this case, right, if we were to take it out, we literally would just credit this account. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our notes in here, right? To remove grinder out from miscellaneous. Okay. Still on page 5 here. So what would we do is we would credit this for $4,158.07, right? Because that's what our journal says. Our journal says you're going to credit this. So if you credit this account right here, right? If you have your formula correct, right? Right now you have a debit balance, and then you're going to credit $4,158.07. That should leave you with 0, right? And when we journalized it in our coffee grinder account, this is what it include: the price of the machine, the shipping tax or the shipping, plus the foundation, plus the electrical wiring, right? To give us this grand total of $4,158.07. And now I post it to my account. So now I have a coffee grinder asset for $4,158.07. And your notes here, right? Pretty straightforward, right? You're gonna move grinder out from miscellaneous. Okay. Now, of course, with this, right? Question says, did we hire somebody to move this coffee grinder out of my miscellaneous suspense account? No, we didn't hire anybody, so therefore, no need for the subsidiary ledger. Okay. All right, everything seems to look good now. So let's see what happened next. Oh, we got another purchase order. Purchase order number 308 to Atlas Coffee. We're going to buy another 125 pounds, this time at $1.36. Okay? And then we're going to buy another 125 pounds of Supreme Coffee for $1.57. So what do I do with this purchase order?
So did we already purchase it?
In this case, it's just an order.
Oh, okay then, nothing.
We don't do anything, right? We don't journalize it, but what should we do with the information here?
We should put it in the journal.
Not in the journal.
The subsidiary.
Okay, so let me take that back. Your purchase order list is in the same one as your journal. So technically, yes, it's just not in the journal. You just have to go to purchase order here. Okay, so good. So right here, 17308. Let's take a look at the rest of the stuff. Did we get everything else? Right? Did we get the refrigerator? I believe we did. We just didn't write when we got it and what it was for. So everything else, we seem to have received it, everything. Okay? So we'll have to backtrack and find out when we got that refrigerator. Okay? But for now, we ordered some coffee. Okay, so the date today is the 15th. Who did we order from?
Atlas Coffee Importer.
Mm-hmm. Items. We bought regular coffee. And we bought Supreme coffee. Okay. My regular coffee was at $1.36 per pound, while my Supreme coffee was $1.57 per pound. So in this case, quantity. $1.36 per pound and $1.57 per pound. So therefore, let's see. right? We got 170 and 196.25, which is correct. So in grand total, I owe $366.25. Okay. So that's what we have to do. We got to match our invoice to this particular item here. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few seconds real quick to just go check out my subsidiary ledger, because I bought my refrigerator from Restaurant Supplies. So I can update what that says right there. Restaurant Supplies. Okay. Purchase 1,000 medium cups right here. Purchase refrigerator. We received on the 14. Invoice number 2032. Okay. So we bought this. Oh, we got it on. We received it on the 14, and it was invoice number 002032. Okay.
So where it says due date, that's when we got it?
This says date received.
Okay, but where did you see that on the other one? Oh, is that, because I don't see that we received it. I don't know where that's at.
We received it on the 14 right here.
Oh,
So remember, if we journalized it and we owe Restaurant Supplies money, that's something you should definitely put in your subsidiary ledger. So I received it on the 14. It was the invoice number 2032. So this could have happened from the previous page. So in this case, it was on page 2 of our journal.
oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now that I updated my purchase order there, let's see what happened next. Okay. So now it's a new day. Okay, new day. It's Sunday. We're still setting up the store. So let's see. We need to establish a petty cash fund for $500. Okay, and Irene will be in charge of the petty cash drawer. Okay, so in this case, we need to set up a petty cash drawer. How do you establish a petty cash drawer?
We will journalize it as, is it a petty cash?
Let's take a look. Do we have a petty cash account?
Yes.
Yes, we do. 1020. I mean 10200. Okay?
And then we'll be checking.
Yes, it has to come out of our checking account, cuz where else we don't have cash laying around. We have to go to the bank and be able to take out that cash. But more importantly is, since we're assigning Irene to do it, we got to go cut her a check. She doesn't have access to the business bank because only the owner can do that, right? So in this case, we have Irene is we're going to write a check to Irene, and she's going to go into the bank and be able to exchange the money. All right, go to the ATM and be able to go, I want a bunch of 20s, right? So in this case, that's exactly what we're going to do. The money is going to come directly out from my checking account. For how much? $500. Okay. So if the money's coming from my checking account, how do I issue her a check? I gotta go to the check register. Okay. So how much did I write?
500.
Who am I writing this check out to?
Is it petty cash or is it?
Well, in this case, right? If you write, if in real life terms, right? If you write petty cash,
Yeah.
can anybody cash that out? No. So you're gonna have to write the person who's in charge of the petty cash. So it's Irene. Okay. But we also have to state here on the notes petty cash. What is it for? It's for the petty cash. So that means we have to keep a really close eye on what Irene does. Is she going to get the cash and pocket it, or is she going to take the cash and put it in the petty cash drawer? So that's what's most important, is that notion there that she is going to put it in the petty cash drawer. Okay. For check number 1515. Okay. So we have to establish petty cash fund. We wrote a check out 1515. Okay. And we already know what the amount is. It's for $500. Okay. So now let's go ahead and transfer that money from my checking account to the petty cash drawer. Okay. So we're dealing with our petty cash. To establish petty cash fund. Okay. Still on page 5 here. For how much?
500.
For $500. Okay. And of course, because we had to write a check out, we have to update our checking because we're decreasing the value of our bank account. So we decreased it by another $500. So what is my total balance in my checking account?
2,799.
$2,799 is adding. We're subtracting because we spent money.
Oh, okay. So 1790.
At $17.99.92. Okay, so that's us taking more money out from our checking account. So right now, we're very, 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 very low. But great news, we're gonna finally start opening our store tomorrow. So we should see some cash inflow. But right now, we also have to think about all the bills that we have to pay that's coming up soon as well. Okay. All right. Now in this case, right, I established a petty cash fund. do I have to refer to a customer, vendor, or employee for this?
No.
No. So no subsidiary ledger. Okay. Next says you set up the cash register to always have at least a total in the amount to start the every morning is going to be this right here, right? A bunch of I already set it up here. And Irene will also be handling the cash register. Will be handling the cash register. Okay? So in this case, so she must go either inside the bank or she must go to the ATM that allows her to do this, where she's got to take 5 20s, 5 10s, $25 bills, $51 bills, and $10 in coins. Okay, so in this case, grand total amount is going to be $310 for being able to make those to exchange monies with the customers. So here I'm establishing money to be in my cash register. Cash in the register. So how would I journalize this?
Okay, so it would be cash and register, and the account number is 10,300.
Excellent. So in this case, right, it's very similar to a petty cash, but this time we're not going to put this directly into the cash register account because that's my asset. In this case, I'm using the cash in register account, okay? So this one you could use cash on hand, but in this case, I want to make it specific so you know that it's not just cash on hand, it's cash that's going to be in the register, right? It's designated for the purpose of serving your customers, right? To exchange them for monies, right? So in this case, 10,300 cash in register is correct. Now, where's the money coming from?
Checking.
Yes. And the money's going to come out from my checking account. In this case, can Irene just go to the bank and pull out this exact amount of change?
Yes.
Can Irene go to the bank and pull out this exact change? Without anything.
Oh no.
No, she can't. We have to write her a check. Okay, so in this case, for $310, we have to go write her a check so she's able to go into the bank, or she could go to the ATM that allows them to do this. But because it needs exact change, she would have to go to the bank. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so that means she needs to. We need to cut her a check, $15.16 for $310. To who? Irene Jameson. And what for? For the cash register. Okay. So Irene has choices she could probably do tomorrow in the morning. It doesn't really necessarily have to be today, but we are establishing and we are cutting her a check for 1516. I mean, for check number 1516. So once again, what are we doing? To establish cash in register. Okay, and we wrote check number 1516. we don't need to make a note here that Irene is in charge of this, just because, I mean, we designate roles, right? But you don't necessarily have to say much. Just know that Irene is in charge of the cash register in the petty cash drawer, right? She's in charge of the money for the business, okay? Because that's what we hired her for, right? We hired her to help us out. So while we go make the coffee, she can handle the cash register or vice versa, right? Okay. So there you go. Now we need to post this to our ledger because now I spent more money from my checking account. Okay. All right. So let's put this in my cash in register. It's up to you what you want to put in here. If you want to put all the details in how many dollar bills you're supposed to have in the machine, you can. If not, I'm just going to say establish cash in register. Okay. To be $310 at all times. Right? This is just a rough estimate just for the first couple weeks of sales, right? Because we still got to promote our store. And we're promoting it on a weekday. So most likely you won't get as many customers because, you know, normally it's over the weekend. You'll get more customers. Okay. So there you go. And then we wrote a checkout. So we decreased our checking account once again. Right? We wrote check number 1516. Still at page 5, right? We reached the bottom of page 5, so we're going to be moving on to the next one. And we just spent another $310. So how much money do we now have in my checking account?
It would be 1489.
Good. So there you go. And did I require anybody to set up the cash register?
No.
No. Right? So now I can move on to page general journal, page 6. So let's see what can I do next? Okay. So we're still setting up the store. Okay. Now it says set your store selling price list. Okay. So sales tax is 8.25%. So this is what your sales taxes or sales is going to be. So in this case, I'm going to sell medium regular coffee cups, right, for $1.99. We're going to sell large regular coffee for $2.99. We're going to sell medium supreme coffee for $2.49, and we're going to sell large supreme coffees for $3.49. Okay? And all our ceramic coffee mugs at in store is going to be $6.99. Okay? Now, as part of our price list too, is we're going to also act as a wholesaler, right? So that's why we hired Albert Allen to partake in making sales for us, right? We hired him as a sales representative. So what he's going to do is he's going to sell to other local coffee shops for the coffees by the pound. So in this case, he could sell regular coffee by the pound, right? And that's going to be priced at $3.29. And then he's going to sell the supreme coffee by the pound at $3.99. And the ceramic coffee mugs, if he sells it to a wholesaler, he's going to charge $4.99 for each coffee cup. Okay? So these are very important that you keep in mind or have around. So again, this is for the wholesalers. This is the price that you're going to be paying. Okay? Now, once again, we're looking at selling as in-store to our general customers as well as selling to our vendors. Okay? Or as selling to our other customers as a wholesaler supplier. Okay? So those are our prices. Okay? So then let's see. Then Bob filled the truck up with gas and used the business credit card. So here you go. We got General Gas and Motors. Okay. Date is the 16th. Okay. He bought it at 5:15 p.m. with the receipt number 3849,876. Okay. And this is what he bought. He bought 23 gallons of premium 91 gas because he bought a truck. Okay. Which cost him $3.98. Wow, must be nice. And charged on his credit card $91.54. Okay? So he bought gas. What do we do with this if he bought gas? Yes, we journalize this. Now, what would you think gas would be? Okay, so you said business expense. Now let's take a look at all the expenses. Maybe there might be something that's a little more precise, let's say, because business could be very general, right? So if there wasn't a business expense account, what other account would you use? Let's see. We got advertising, bank, freight, insurance, interest, labor. We have license, loss, office supplies, payroll. We have purchase. There you go. We got travel expenses. Would you consider this as a travel expense? Yes, you would. So in this case, travel expense 63,000. All right. So we got some travel expenses. Okay. And how did you pay for it? We used the business credit card, right? Visa. Okay, so here, travel expenses was 63,000. And what was your Visa credit card? 9154. Okay, so your Visa should be 22,000. Okay. So you have all the information you need, right? Where did you buy this gas from?
General Gas and Motors.
Okay. We have proof of a transaction, right, with a sales receipt. Okay. And you use your Visa credit card, so that's pretty straightforward. It's up to you if you want to put how many gallons of gas you put in there. It's up to you. Okay. Right. But we've been taking the truck to go buy all this materials, right? So now it's time to fill it up, because sometimes the auto dealership, sometimes they'll fill it up for you all the way, but sometimes they let people drive it. So sometimes they just only fill it up halfway. So in this case, it's time to refill it up. Okay? And we used our business credit card to pay for that gas. So now that I have this, right, we need to update our ledgers, right? Because I made an expense. I bought travel, or I bought gas. Okay, so here your travel expenses. Okay, it's the 16. What did you buy? You bought 23 gallons. 23 gallons. $91 gas. Okay. We're on our new general journal, right? And we purchased $91.54 worth. Okay. So now we need to go to our credit card, because we spent more money on our credit card. And we bought gas. Which will increase our account by $91.54. So how much do I owe on my credit card? Good. 632.34. 44. Good. Now let's see. We also need to put in our records, not that we need it for any other reasons except for proof of a transaction, but let's see. There you go. General Gas and Motors. Right, today's the 16. We bought 23 gallons of 91 gas. Okay. Sales receipt number. Do we have the receipt number? 3849. Oop, no five. Okay. Post reference, right? We're still on page 6. We just started. We paid at time of service, so therefore it was for $91.54. We also got to make a note. We use our Visa credit card to make a payment. So therefore, payment So again, this is just a record, a proof of records that you made this expense. Obviously, you can't return gas, but the idea is to make sure that when we do our travel expenses, right, we can use this to write it off. Because as a sole proprietor, right, you get to write off travel as a business expense. This is one of the things that you can get reimbursed for by the government. So this is something that you can use to write against, right? Is how much miles per hour, how many miles or how many cents per mile do you get to be reimbursed for, or can be written off for. So this is really cool that you should know for small businesses. You can write off traveling for taxes. Okay. Okay. So now we finally are on Monday, June 17th. And the first thing we got to do is we need to make a payment to LV Remodeling for that foundation, right? It must be due today. And we're going to use a check to pay this off for invoice number 7060. So how do I go ahead and do this?
Okay, okay, so with the accounts payable.
Yeah, right? Because we already recorded the bill previously. Now we're paying for what we owe. Okay?
Checking.
Right? Yes, it says we need to use a check. Right? How much do I know to pay?
From invoice 1760.
Okay.
So we will go to where we have our invoices.
The subsidiary ledger, so good. All the people that we work with.
Yes.
Okay. So this is from LV Remodeling. Here you go, LV Remodeling. We only have one bill left, right? Which is that 1760. In what amount do I owe on that bill?
1,560.
1560 is what I owe. So 1560. Since I gotta cut a check, I need to go to my check register for 1560. Who are you making the? Who are you cutting this check out to? LV Remodeling for the foundation. Okay, so we grabbed check number 1517. Okay. So we have everything that we need, right? Who are we making a payment to? LV Remodeling Company. Which invoice am I making a payment to? 1760. What check number did I use? 1517. Okay. All right. So now that my journal's done, I now need to update my ledger because I just paid for what I owed. So not only did I decrease my checking once again, I also decreased my liabilities. Okay, because I now owe less money. So here I am in my accounts payable account. So 17. We're paying for invoice number. So how should I put this in here? Right? We want to know the bill number. We made a payment. with check 1517. Okay. And this time we're going to debit our account for how much? 1560. So then if I'm decreasing my liabilities now because I'm making a payment to what I owe, how much is going to be my account balance in my account? In my accounts payable account. What's my account balance?
16,791,700.
Excellent. Okay, good. Now, of course, that means we end up reducing my checking account. Right? Because I wrote check number 1517. Okay? So if I'm reducing my account by another $1,560, what has happened here? What's my account balance going to be now? Negative 7008. So in this case, right, this is what I like to do. I want you to keep this formula in your on your debit side because it's always going to have a debit balance. Right now, it just shows a negative because that's what I have, right? I have a negative balance here. But what I like to do is instead of seeing negative, now this is also saying that this is a credit of 70, 80, right? But notice this, when I typed into this empty column here on the right, it did not affect my numbers at all. Why is that? It's because the formula is in the debit side and I dragged and copied it across down the row here. That formula does not include this number here on the right. So what I want you to do is I want you to do it like that, but keep the formula in here because no matter what it is, whether I insert 1500, I'm constantly going to have a normal debit balance. It's always going to be positive in most cases, okay? But this time we just end up having this amount negative. And what I like to do is I like to hide this information. I don't want to delete it because if I delete it, then the formula will be affected. So how do I hide this? So I go up here and what I do is I white it out, right? I use a white font. The formula is still there. As you can see, if I double click on it, formula is still there because if I were to change it, right, or delete it, this would affect the rest of the formula. So I want to make sure I keep it intact. I just hide it in this case. You still use it's still there, right? It's just written in white ink instead of black ink. And I just basically put the positive number, right, in the credit side. All right, and that's what I want you to do. Now, question to you, okay? I just overdrafted my bank account. And I wrote, let me see. So the question here is, will I get charged? Well, let's think of it this way, okay? I just wrote the check out today as of June 17. I still have to mail it out at the end of the day. The customer also has to receive it on their end, right? So that could take anywhere to 2 to 3 business days, right? Usually mailing, if you're going to mail someone that's in the same state, it could take 2 to 3 business days. And then upon receiving, right? We don't know when the customer is going to deposit the money, right? They can choose to deposit the end of the day. So that's another 2 to 3 days that check will clear. So in this case, you are solid. You are good to go for the next 5 days. Right? Because right now, this money hasn't been withdrawn out of your bank account, right? You still technically have $1,489 left, right? So right now, your best bet is you can hope and pray, right? When you mail out this check, you mail it at the end of the day, okay? But when you mail it out as well, you also make a deposit of cash. So just in case they end up receiving it the next day and they decided to deposit that money right away, at least you have at least 3 days minimum, right? Maximum might be anywhere to five, maybe 5 or 6, 7 days, right? So in this case, we are okay. We will not get charged yet because we haven't overdrafted our bank that much yet, right? And right now, we still are in the positives because the person who's receiving the check hasn't deposited either, right? So we have to understand this, that just because we cut the check, that doesn't mean it's been actually taken out of our bank account, okay? So there you go. We have 1560 giving us a negative 7008, which is also known as a credit for 7008. Okay. Right? Now that we've made a payment to LV Remodeling, we also need to ensure that they do receive it. Okay? Proof that we did pay them. So once again, we did make a payment, right? We wrote check number 1517, and this was for invoice 1760, right? This transaction was on the 6th page, right? And then where do we put the amount of the 1560?
Where do we put it?
Which column? Prepaid, invoice, returns, discounts, payments. Good. So 1560. If you put this formula in correctly and dragged all the way down, it's going to show that you have a negative 1560, which means you made a payment, right? You decreased what you owed. So then now, in grand total, I owe LV Remodeling nothing because I paid both bills, right? So now in my gray, my account balance there is nothing. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to stop here.